Tonight, Electoral Commission in unprecedented move, opening up what is being described as a make-or-break IPAC meeting to live coverage following demand by the main opposition NDC.
And in that meeting, our IT team will be there. And each party is supposed to come with 2 representatives. And we have civil society also to be present in that particular meeting. So in that particular, we expect that since this is more technical, if a party is bringing 2 persons, I expect that one of them should be a technical person.
And Top Story is always brought to you by Telecel Connecting Energies, also by Holy Insecticide Spray and Coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. The Electoral Commission has made an unprecedented move tonight to bring greater transparency to the Inter-Party Advisory Committee meeting scheduled for tomorrow that has been described by some as a make-or-break meeting. It follows demands by the main opposition, National Democratic Congress, for a briefing. The opposition party had requested for a forensic audit into the voters register that they had described as flawed, but also a tool to rig the elections this year. They had embarked on a series of protests across the country. Tomorrow, the Electoral Commission will be meeting with the NDC and other political parties with similar concerns. And for the very first time, the EC says it will open that meeting up for us journalists to participate, but also bring that to you live. I want to bring in my colleague in the studio with me, Kojo Brace, because today the NDC has been demanding just that. They wanted this meeting tomorrow to be subject to press coverage. We now know that has now been granted by the Electoral Commission. But let's walk through what the demands of the NDC was today, as laid out by Dr. Maniboma, who is the Director of Elections.
Now, he took to his Facebook page to make that demand. He says, in the interest of the general public and the Ghanaian voter, following the contestation between the NDC and the Electoral Commission over the 2024 voters register, the EC must allow the media to provide live coverage of the proceedings at the IPAC meeting. The live broadcast will provide Ghanaians with real-time and unbiased information on the state of the 2024 voters register after the EC's so-called self-audit or auto-correction of the avoidable, into bracket, criminal errors and mistakes. Additionally, this live media coverage will also completely eliminate the possibility of misinformation and misinterpretation or mispresentation after the IPAC meeting. And then he says, let me emphasize that the NDC's demand for a forensic audit of the register and its IT system cannot be comprehensively addressed at IPAC. The truth is, Eagle Eyes, that's hashtag Eagle Eyes, intercepted information shows as at yesterday, the Electoral Commission was still struggling to resolve voters whose names are still missing from the voters register. Then he says the problem is more than meets the eye. Until the criminals who deliberately manipulated voters' data for electoral gains are identified and smoked out, the same errors can recur before December 7th, 2024. Such data manipulation can lead to BVDs not being able to verify some selected voters, even if their names are on the hard copies of the voters' register. Then he says you'll hear from the NDC soon. I don't know what he meant by that.
And we've been looking for the NDC to speak to ahead of tomorrow. First of all, we know they've told us in the past that as far as presenting the evidence before the Electoral Commission, they do not trust the Electoral Commission enough to do that. All they wanted was that forensic audit.
Yeah.
Will they participate in tomorrow's briefing? Of course, now that they're asking for press coverage, it presumes they will.
Yeah.
But the Electoral Commission has also granted that request, which is, we've received the invitation.
Yes. Joy actually has an invitation, which is calling on us to
come in and participate,
exactly.
but also cover this live.
Exactly. And probably share the details that we have with them. It is for Ms. Joy and other press houses to be part of this particular meeting. So that's saying to the NDC that, well, we've heard what you want. We are glad to open it up for the media to be there.
And this invitation was received a couple of hours back, but on the substantive point, the substantive demand of the NDC, which is a forensic audit of the voters register, the EC's position as of last Saturday was clear that they have the mandate to do it themselves if they must, but they also believe the processes to audit the register is written in law, which is what they're doing, and so the NDC's position is premature. Listen to Dr. Bosman Asari, is the deputy chair of the EC.
And in that meeting, our IT team will be there. And each party is supposed to come with 2 representatives. And we have civil society also to be present in that particular meeting. And the commission is going to do a presentation on all we have done on the voters register. And something, let me make this point clear. The register was given to the parties in 2020. The register was given to the parties again in 2023. So I know any party should have that. And we've again given the registers to the parties in 2024 for each district. We've given to the parties. So what the commission is saying is that if you are a party and you have the capacity to know that what the EC has given to you is the right one or it's not, once we finish this meeting and we give you the register, you should be able to know. For example, in 2020, going into the elections, we had almost 27,000 registered voters. In 2023, we added a little over 910,000 onto the register. And in 2024, we've added, in the first phase of the registration, we did almost 777,000. Then during the mop-up, we added almost 100,000. So when you put all these numbers together, we are doing almost 18.8 million people. After the exhibition process has concluded, then we will know those who have been removed by way of deceased and other things. So the party should be able to know. So on Tuesday, when we do the presentation...
Are you suggesting you are open to the audit?
The audit is in the law, CI 91, Regulation 23, Regulation 24. Something, maybe Joy must share that particular CI publicly. It's an audit of the voters register. Commission is not against anything, but what we are saying is that what the law has provided for, why do you want us to depart from it? Well, the election is barely 2 months away, and we have a system in place provided by law, which we use to clean, and we did that in 2020, we did that last year, 2023, and we are applying the same procedure. And the commission is fully convinced that we are going to get a final register that is credible, that is robust, and that will be fit for the 2024 general election.
There's also an invitation to other civil society groups to also be part of this Inter-Party Advisory Committee IPAC meeting tomorrow. Has been described as a make or break one. The media is going to be there for the very first time in the history of the IPAC meetings. We can bring that to you live. I want to bring in right now the Executive Director of the Media Foundation for West Africa, Suleiman Abrahama. Sule, what do you make of this move by the Electoral Commission?
Well, Evans, I think that is a really great decision by the Electoral Commission, because there's a lot that has happened that impugn the reputation, the credibility, the transparency of the Electoral Commission. And so far, the Commission's response has also been that, look, everything right is being done to ensure a credible, free, fair elections. And I've seen that the Director of Elections of the NDC actually made this call that the upcoming IPAC meeting, the media must be allowed in to provide live coverage. And for the EC to also respond positively, what it means is that, as far as they are concerned, there's nothing to hide. And of course, even if certain discrepancies are discovered during tomorrow's meeting, it is important that the public becomes aware of the development, so that collectively we can do what would ensure public trust, public confidence in the EC, so that we can have a very fair, free, transparent elections come December 7th.
It goes down to the credibility of the elections itself. And I know you, each time I've come to one of your programs, you actually encourage that this sort of transparency is what the EC should integrate, not only at an IPAC meeting, the first time they're doing so, but throughout the entire process to the election itself being declared, right? Does this signal an opportunity for the EC after tomorrow to say this is how we're going to do things going forward, that the media will be involved? We saw the Nigerian elections. The collations were done live on television throughout. And so it was hard to put in any misinformation or disinformation that we couldn't verify ourselves on television.
Well, I think that the involvement of the media certainly is quite critical, but we don't also have to forget about the context of our media landscape today, where some media houses are obviously partisan and would always do things that are in the interest of their political parties rather than, being fair to the issues and being transparent with the issues. So, yes, the EC involving the media going forward is critical, but of course that has to be done in a way that would ensure that they wouldn't also create an opportunity for certain media houses that may want to set a certain agenda to have their way. I think what is important really is for the EC to be very proactive in their communications rather than always reacting to claims and allegations that are made. Because once a claim is made and you are reacting, people may have made up their minds already. And so, at every stage, I think that the EC must be very, very proactive. And I'm happy to say that, for example, we engaged them to say, look, can you engage with the media across the country to let the media understand the processes and the issues and all of that? And their response has been positive. So, in fact, from tomorrow, there is an engagement in Volta region. There's one coming up in the northern region. There's one in Ashanti region. There's one in Accra. So it gives me some sort of confidence that, well, the EC would want to engage. But like I said, I think sometimes they delay quite a bit. So what we have is, there are accusations and then they respond. There are allegations and then they respond. They are always put on the reactive side of things. And I think going forward, they need to be very proactive.
And you're right. In fact, as of today, the EC, they've been training our own, reporters and correspondents across the country will be deploying for the elections, and they were very receptive to the idea of doing so. But now that you're opening IPAC app for journalists and the media to set up and bring it live, they shift the responsibility, does it not, on journalists and media to show that we've really earned this, but also to the political parties, indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't. What I don't know is whether it is this particular IPAC meeting that they are allowing the media in to cover the processes live, and perhaps I should want to believe so, because indeed going forward there could be IPAC meetings that would generate a lot of controversies, a lot of debates, and so on. And of course, you don't want everything out there in the public domain. But I believe this is an IPAC meeting that is so crucial to discuss this whole contention about the voters register, whether audit or no audit, and all of that. And so it is important that for once, the facts are brought to the public so that if indeed the NDC has issues, we need to know what steps the EC is taking to address those concerns. And if it turns out that, well, what the EC has been saying is also true, that yes, there were issues, but we've corrected them, then of course we will also know that the NDC may have to eat back its words. So for this particular meeting, I think that it is important that they are allowing the media in, but I doubt that the decision is that going forward, every IPAC meeting, we would be there.
But should that be the norm, though? Should that be the norm, that going forward, IPAC meetings, considering how high stakes they can get sometimes, that the media should be part of that going forward?
I would say that I doubt that would be a great decision going forward. Of course, that situations may be that, well, that is what will be required. But at this stage, I think it is important for us to not create an impression that our electoral processes have gotten to a stage where without the public being in the room, without the media being in the room, the institutions and the political parties cannot manage things the way we've managed over the years. Because if we are not careful and every IPAC meeting, the media are there. What we're going to create would be, post-IPAC meetings discussions from partisan perspectives on media platforms and all, and that could eventually also raise the issues about, the EC's trust, the public confidence that we all need to have. So that as well, I believe, has to be managed. But for this critical issue about the auditing of the register, I think it is a great move that the EC has accepted the request on the part of the NDC to have this thing telecast live. But like you said, I think the most important point also going forward and whether to allow the media in or not is about how the media conduct themselves from tomorrow. And so a lot of responsibility on the media now in terms of their own professional ethics, in terms of their own responsibility, in terms of their own objectivity and objective analysis is something that we as the public will be looking up to. I think the EC has done its part in terms of the positive response that it is given. And the media, I believe, would also do its part tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Suleiman Abrama. There is the Executive Director of the Media Foundation for West Africa. Henry Danabwache is the national organizer of the MPP, joins us on the line right now. And I know they had said last week at the press conference that if the EC decides to conduct this forensic audit, they would also hit the streets. But on the subject of whether to open the IPAC app to press coverage or not, the NDC made the request. The EC had written out to media houses to say you can come and cover. They opened it up for the very first time. Nana, thanks for your time here on Top Story. I may have lost him there. Nana, can you hear me?
Hello?
Great. Where do you stand on the decision by the Electoral Commission to open this IPAC meeting tomorrow up to press coverage? I may have lost him there. We'll try and get him back on the line. And I want to hear from you on this, though, 055-111-1997. If you're just joining us, tomorrow's IPAC meeting has been described as a make or break one, considering that a lot is riding on that. There's a lot of issues there that the EC is intending to address, particularly those raised by the NDC. They've hit the streets already. Today, they've asked for the IPAC meeting tomorrow, at which the EC is hoping to receive the evidence. Presentations will be done, and they can also have an opportunity in front of the cameras. Tell the NDC, as we've already heard from the deputy chair there, the EC, that the issues have been addressed largely. Nana, Henry Danabwache is the MPP's national organizer and joins me on the line. And just before we go into the specifics of what might happen tomorrow and whether you're making a presentation yourselves as the MPP, where do you stand on the decision by the EC tonight to open the IPAC meeting up to press coverage?
Oh, I think it's a great idea. We don't have any issues with that. The EC and what usually transpires at IPAC meetings, I don't think that it's something that should create any tension. And for me, inviting the media is a great decision from the Electoral Commission. And we embrace it as a political party. So that is fine. I mean, we are okay with this decision.
And quickly, should this become the norm going forward for IPAC meetings?
That, I do not think so. I think that we need to leave that with the Electoral Commission. That discretion should lie with the Electoral Commission to decide. Because clearly, there are some IPAC meetings which may not generate any sort of tension, and it could be normal issues which must be discussed. This particular meeting, you understand that yes, the NDC called for an audit. The Electoral Commission responded. They said that it was a premature call. I also believe, the New Patriotic Party also believe, that there's no need for any audit of the voters register. The IPAC meeting is tomorrow. The media is invited. So that is fine. I mean, all along we've been saying that if you say you have evidence of some 240,000 illegal transfers, present it. Let the Electoral Commission speak for itself. And that is it. And I think the Electoral Commission is seized with the mandate to respond to any allegation or whatever.
Is the MPP making a presentation tomorrow?
Oh, not at all. We may give or pass our comments, our views on the matters. We are a major stakeholder. So our views certainly will be heard tomorrow. But we have not called for any audit, so we may not give any presentation. But we will pass some comments. We will let our views be known on the presentation that will be made by the NDC.
But your position is already known. You've said categorically that you do not believe that there's any basis for a forensic audit. But there have been some civil society groups that have joined that call. In fact, other political parties like Alan Chamanting's party, the Civic Initiative with the likes of IPAC had all come together to say an independent forensic audit is required on this particular matter. That position of yours has not changed in spite of all the growing calls for this audit.
Evans, I cannot wrap my head around how and why we should institute any independent body on the Electoral Commission, such broad-based, well-created, deep-rooted Electoral Commission. I mean, they've been conducting 9 elections. In the 1992 Constitution, they are mandated to compile a credible voters register, and they have done so. And then we are saying that we are going to bring which body to come and audit the Electoral Commission's work again. I cannot wrap my hand around it. I mean, it must be some compelling, overwhelmingly compelling reason to call for such. And I do not see so in this particular matter. So I'm surprised why anybody would want to meddle in the independence or interfere in the independence of the Electoral Commission by saying that we should invite. What has happened? I do not see what has happened. And Evans, I've been saying this. Look, even if we have 2,000 names displaced, illegally transferred, the noise we are hearing from the NDC will not be coming from the NDC. It will be coming from the affected people. People will be running to Joy FM saying that I'm supposed to vote here. I checked the status and I've been moved to, let's say, in Kranza, that is Bono East. So you'll be hearing from the affected people. It looks like we are hearing these noises from the NDC. Even if you displace 2,000, the affected people will come out. They will come out. So when I hear these calls from bodies that the whole Electoral Commission, a body that is widely and globally recognized. Look, the New Patriotic Party, we've had issues with the Electoral Commission. We requested for a new voters register. They put together a committee. The committee sat on the matter, and they came out of their verdict. And then we participated in the 2016 election, and we moved on. The NDC also fought against the new voters register by the Electoral Commission in 2020. The Electoral Commission created the new register. Nothing happened. We voted. Peace prevailed. So the moment we begin to shake the Electoral Commission because somebody is coughing, or we begin to shake the Electoral Commission because somebody says so, what are we doing to the institution in the Electoral Commission? So I do not think so at all. We do not have such a compelling reason to warrant any independent audit, to allow anybody, you don't know the kind of body it is, anybody at all to come and sit on the work of the Electoral Commission. We should not even allow it at all.
It begs the question, I know, speaking to yourself and your Director of Elections, that you've also spotted issues with the register, but is it that you're confident that the processes as spelled out in the CI is enough to address all the concerns that you may have spotted?
Yes, Evans. Yes. Look, even currently, during the exhibition process, I had 3 calls. One person said that his name was wrongly spelled. The other person said that where he's supposed to vote, the polling station, is being changed. You just pick up the correction form. That is why all of us must participate. Because you see, in my polling station where I vote, I can tell you that if you give the register to my polling station executives, they can identify any and every person on the list. So who? You are going to give it to an independent body to come and do what? For the person to go to the polling station and identify the people in there. I mean, I don't, it is we, the major stakeholders, the NDC. We had an exhibition. We have the provisional voters list. The EC says that they are in the process to finalize the final register. So the processes, the compilation of the register go through. It is so robust that the process itself is a deep-rooted auditing process. So I cannot understand why anybody will say that the Electoral Commission's work must be audited by another body when we have gone through these processes. Now, unless you did not do your work well.
Thank you very much, Nana Boache. He's the MPP national organizer there, joining us with his thoughts on this. Well, that meeting is tomorrow, and you would get it live here on Joy 99.7 FM, but also on our Joy News channel. You really want to stay with us. This is your election headquarters.
Kind of way, tell you so the more money promo now,
Everybody likes money, but what do we like more than money? More money! Join the Telecel More Money promo and win money, more money, and even more money. Simply opt in for free and reload your mobile and broadband and be the lucky winner of the 1 million Ghana cedis grand prize. Also win cash prizes of up to 3 million Ghana cedis in the daily and weekly draw. Opt in for free by dialing *500# or send WIN to 500, or you can opt in on the Telecel Play app. The more you reload, the higher chances of winning in the Telecel More Money promo. Keep loading, win, and be a millionaire.
Telecel. Connecting energies.
Terms and conditions apply. This promo is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas Lottery platform.
Couldn't sleep at night. Mosquitoes will be whining my ears, bugging me all night long. Till I got a remedy. Now I'll be spraying them away with holy insecticide spray. I go spray them away with holy insecticide spray. When I sleep, me down my dark with holy insecticide spray.
Holy mosquito coil, holy multi-purpose insecticide spray. Ghana Kron Kron. For bulk purchase, call 0302 681582. This advert is FDA approved.
Hello, my name is Mami Akua, an entrepreneur and a mother of two. My work keeps me busy most of the time, and sometimes it takes me away from my family. But the safety and health of my family is very important to me. As a working mother, I cannot afford to take any chances when it comes to matters of health. That is why I signed up for a family health care plan from Equity Health Insurance. My family and I have access to over 700 hospitals, clinics, opticians, dentists, pharmacies, and diagnostic centers across the length and breadth of Ghana. With Equity Health Insurance, I no longer have to worry about medical bills. Anytime a member of my family visits a hospital, Equity Health Insurance has got my family and I covered. What about you? Who has got you covered?
Call Equity Health Insurance on 050-660-7910 and talk to them about your family health needs now. Visit equityhealthinsurance.com for more information. Equity Health Insurance, here for you.
Are you waking up with jaw pain and headaches? This is commonly caused by grinding your teeth at night. Hi, I'm Tanya from Bethel Dental Clinic, Ghana. This condition is known as bruxism or grinding. Oftentimes, people are unaware that they are doing so, but the side effects are visible and often heard by one's sleep partner. So if you're experiencing jaw pain, headache, sensitivity, and even fractured teeth, you may be a clincher or grinder. It can also wear down your teeth and affect your overall health. After a dental visit, a custom-made knife guard will be made for you. This occlusal guard is worn to protect your teeth while you sleep to prevent further damage and discomfort. So, contact your dental office to learn more about protecting your teeth from clenching and grinding.
Health is mine.
It is 68 days to the presidential and parliamentary elections. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Newsnight. Coming up, striking teacher unions serve strong warning. No talk will get them to back down as the Ministry of Education convenes emergency meeting in a bold attempt to resolve their demands.
I don't expect any tangible thing to come out of this course. The relevant ministry that is supposed to invite us is the Ministry of Finance.
Meetings where the minister will appeal, we understand you, we have heard your concern, call off the strike, and then we will engage. We don't think that Gawa is going to accept.
We'll hear from the ministry on how it intends to get the workers back to the classroom shortly. Also tonight, National Security Minister-led ad hoc committee fails to get organized labor to back down on decision to strike or protest as it stands its grounds for President Akufo-Addo to declare a state of emergency on illegal mining.
All the issues stand safe, and it must be put on record that currently we are between life and death. And so tomorrow, organized labor will do the needful.
We'll bring you details of the group's next line of action as its deadline to government expires today. Also, Works and Housing Ministry reveals it will require a total of 500 million cedis to complete reconstruction and resettlement of thousands of families displaced by the spillage of Akosombo Dam. We have details as the ministry secures clearance to commit 200 million cedis to the resettlement plan for more than 2,000 homes destroyed by the flood waters.
Well, we're looking between 400 and 500 million Ghana cedis to complete this resettlement exercise. Already, we have been given commencement certificate to commit government to 200 million.
Also, construction to resume on the controversial Saglemi housing project in November.
We expect that early November, work will resume after a new developer is signed up to go onto the site. We reiterate that we are not selling these projects. We are working in a PPP framework to complete these projects.
And in our Streets of Despair series, we'll tell you the story of two head porters, popularly known as Kaye, battling the harsh street life of Accra to become nurses after escaping poverty in their hometown Tumu in the Upper West region.
Look at the suffering that we are getting there. I want to come here and look for money and go back.
4 cities from here to CMB. It's not good because 4 cities cannot buy food.
In business, total amount of mobile money account held with commercial banks hit 141 billion Ghana cedis.
And in sports, Ghana Football Association President Keto Kreko denies involvement in Black Star squad selection.
Please stay for details. My name is Forstina Sarfo, and I'm doing this with...
And my name is Mensah. I want to join us with your views and comments. 055-1111-997. And we start with that raging controversy on the labor front as we hear from striking teachers tonight. And they serve notice of their resolve not to go back to work until their last demand is met by government. 5 teacher unions, the Tertiary Education Workers Union, TEU, the Ghana Association of University Administrators, GAU, the Senior Staff Association of Universities of Ghana, and the Colleges of Education Teachers Association, the CTAC, lay down their tools over non-payment of allowances and Tier 2 pension contributions.
Well, the strike is in its 3rd week now, as most tertiary institutions have suspended the reopening of schools across the country. The Ministry of Education has issued an invitation calling on all the agitated unions to an urgent meeting tomorrow. My colleague James Aveji joins me in the studio with excerpts of that notice. James, what does it say?
Well, Forstina, this reads that the Honorable Minister for Education wants to meet leadership of all unions on strike, as well as leaders of VCG and PRINCOF on Tuesday at 10 a.m. at the Ministry of Information. Now, GTEC, the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Employment, Labour Relations, the the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, PRINCOF and VCG, and all government representatives must make it a point to be present to discuss and address issues pertaining to ongoing strike by teacher unions. And this is from the Ministry of Education going to all of the teacher unions to be present at that meeting tomorrow morning.
Thank you, James Aveji. Let's get on the phone lines now and speak to the National Chairman of the Senior Staff Association of the Universities of Ghana, George Ansong. Thank you for your time here on Newsnight. Well, I'm sure you've seen this invitation from the Ministry of Education. Are you pleased?
Yes, please. I have received that invitation.
Are you pleased?
Please, I'm not pleased. I don't see this invitation as anything near the resolution of the matter. What we want to see is the money hitting our account, and then the fund managers are letting us that government has paid the money. That is what we want to see. This invitation, come and let's meet, come and let's meet. We have done it severally, and the end result is the same. We government to switch talk you, give you sugar coated words, and then at the end of the day, they will just pay deaf ears to your call. When you meet them, they will promise you heaven and earth, but when it comes to the implementation, they will not. You call them, they will not even pick. So I don't see this as anything near the resolution of the matter.
Do I get the sense you're tired of the talks so far? Would you honor the ministry's invitation tomorrow?
What is needed now is the action from the government side.
Will you honor the invite tomorrow? Would you be there?
Oh, sure. As a respectful citizen, if the minister is inviting, I'll go and listen.
Willing to reach a compromise, though?
The compromise is just paying the money. That's a compromise. What else?
George Asong, he is the national chairman of the Senior Staff Association.
And he's raising concerns ahead
of
tomorrow's
that meeting tomorrow.
He stays with us. I want to bring in Kwesi Kwarteng. He's the Public Relations Manager at the Education Ministry. They have extended that invitation to the workers to come for that meeting. Mr. Kwarteng, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. You've heard the concerns from the teachers, and this is one that they say they have already participated in before. There's been a lot of talk. All they want to see is action. How do you address that ahead of tomorrow's meeting?
Thank you, Evans, and a very good evening to you and your listeners. It is true that with government side, when I say we, I'm referring to the government side, have had a lot of engagement and agreement with the labor front, particularly those who are striking. It is also true that between the parties, there are some outstanding obligations from both parties, i.e. referring to these unions and, of course, also government. The briefing I have from the Minister for Education is that tomorrow parties are going to meet once again to be able to try and build consensus. Ultimately, I am very much aware that the striking labor unions or forces are willing to go back to their work. So far as government is able to listen to their concerns and meet them halfway. I've also been assured that government is also willing to also make some level of commitment and build consensus ultimately. So I am very hopeful that tomorrow when the parties meet, they should be able to make headway. The most important thing is that we make a headway. I mean, strike actions all over the world, labor issues are inevitable. But of course, I am also excited to also add that at least the Minister for Education, Dr. Osedichum, has once again intervened. I mean, whichever way, it still falls under his ministry, even though broadly is a labor issue. But he spearheaded the conversation, and we've extended an invitation. And interestingly, we are also bringing all parties, including the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, representative from Ministry of Finance, Controller, Vice Chancellor's Ghana, to be able to make sure that we get into a compromise or hit a middle ground. So I'm very hopeful that, God willing, tomorrow we should make a headway.
You talk about consensus and also middle ground, but the workers are very clear with their demands. Pay their allowances and settle their 10-2 pension contributions. Will they get that tomorrow?
I mean, you see, this agreement had even already been reached. The briefing I have is that the ministry even also expected them to, or government side largely expected them to, I mean, write to government with regards to the agreements that they've reached, so that all consequential decisions would also be taken by government.
Just to clarify, you want them to write to you about the agreement reached in the past on the two issues of allowance and pensions?
What I'm saying is that after the parties had reached an agreement, the expectation from government side was that formally we anticipated or expected a formal correspondence from the striking union. It is important to also add that, it is not only just one striking union, so I cannot just put all of them in a collective description. But for us, what is most important, Evans, is that whichever way we are willing as government to engage them and have a conversation. You see, labor issues, ultimately you will have to still, sit and judge or build a consensus and make sure that you update parties on the progress of implementation of all agreement that has been made. And I'm very optimistic that tomorrow when we meet, particularly the government side, largely being led by or championed by the Minister for Education, is also going to update striking unions on the progress of the implementation. I'm sure when they get that information, we should be able to make a headway.
Because the CTAC, for example, the NLC gave an award in their favor. The Education Ministry and government broadly has failed to implement that. In fact, the NLC is in court, trying to get the court to compel government to honor its own commitments when that award was given on behalf of CTAC. Clearly, on the part of the Education Ministry, there has been a monumental failure there, and a meeting tomorrow, as the workers have said, doesn't achieve anything other than just another talk shop. Simply implement what you agreed at the NLC in respect of CTAC. Goodness, we may have lost him there. And by the way, the NLC is in court on this. We'll be talking to Fosu Asamoah, Executive Secretary of the National Labour Commission, who will join us pretty shortly on this particular subject. As you know, there is a situation where we've heard from the university principals who tell us last week that the potential is there that it will completely throw the academic calendar into complete state of confusion if this is not resolved. I want to still bring in Kwesi Kwarteng, who we lost there on the line. He's back on. Mr. Kwarteng, I was asking you about CTAC. NLC is actually in court, trying to get the court to compel you to meet the agreement that was reached when you sat down with the CTAC members to resolve the issue. They got an award in their favor, and you have failed to implement that.
I'm not sure I'm in the right position to go into terms of agreement and who has reneged on his responsibility in terms of the implementation of whatever was agreed upon. What I'm capable of, particularly within this instance, is that assuring all parties, and of course the good people of Ghana, that at the end of the day, government is willing to engage them. Government is willing to build consensus. Government is willing to make a headway with all parties. Of course, if there were instances where agreements in terms of what was agreed was not implemented, I'm not sure it will be relevant for me to revisit them. What is most important is that parties will be once again invited to the negotiation table and try to build consensus and resolve all outstanding issues. That government is very committed to.
Okay, and George Anson is still with me, the National Chair of the Senior Staff Association. You've received some assurances today from Mr. Kwarteng there, assured, based on what you've heard, that tomorrow's meeting will yield the outcome that you've asked for, action?
I was laughing in my head when he said that we should have written to the government or whatever. We had an agreement with Fair Wages. Fair Wages has written to the Ministry of Finance to effect payment. This payment, the same letter that they wrote to the ministry has written that UTAC should be paid. So why didn't they also write that we also should be paid? And then you are expecting us to write another letter. Fine. that granted. I have written a letter to the ministry to that effect. Ask whether they even recognize or acknowledge receipt of that letter. So now, you will call one lady called Edna. She will not pick your call. So what do we do? And what consensus are we going to build? The consensus is that the money is paid because we can't all work in the same university. Whilst we all take the same allowance, then you pay one group and deny the other. And you tell us we should come and reach consensus. On what? This pension money, it's my money. It was part of my salary that per law you have to deduct. Pay the money to the rightful people to invest the money. That one too, you have to come and reach consensus. Is that how we want to treat our own people?
But bottom line, you'll be there tomorrow, in spite of the concerns you've had.
Well, let's see.
Okay, thank you very much, Joe Johnson, the National Chairman of the Senior Staff Association, Kwesi Kwarteng, Public Relations Manager at the Education Ministry, Ofusua Samoa is Executive Secretary of the National Labour Commission, also joins us. They are the heart of this. And you will be in this meeting tomorrow too. You expect that something will come out of this meeting that will get the workers back to the classrooms?
Unfortunately, I will not be part of the meeting. The commission is not part of the meeting.
You've not been invited?
No, we are not supposed to be part because, the petition was directed to us by the striking workers. And we referred it to their employers, that is the ministry, that this is what we have on our hand. What are you doing to solve the problem? We are the last resort. So we normally, when cases come, we give the parties the opportunity to negotiate a settlement. It is only where they are unable to settle that we come in to arbitrate or mediate. So it is upon this prompting to the ministry that the minister has taken the initiative and the steps to invite the parties to a table to see how they can solve the problem.
Yeah, but the ministry is complicit in this, is it not? Because I know you are in court trying to get a government to comply with some of the orders that you've given and an award that you
that
give
is
to
so.
Yes, they've certainly been complicit in this. This is purely to your doing, is it not?
Well, I am unable to say so. But even if it were, they have now taken steps to, solve the problem, which I think is right. It's better late than never. That they say.
Thank you very much. That is Ofusua Samoa, is Executive Secretary of the National Labour Commission. So listen to News 90s on Joy 99.7 FM.
Well, Evans, organised labour will in the next 24 hours decide on whether to strike or roll out series of protests as it stands its grounds for President Akufo-Addo to declare a state of emergency on illegal mining. We know that the ad hoc committee led by the National Security Minister met organised labour last week but has since failed to get them to back down on their decision to call off its action. Now, this comes in the wake of the group's deadline to government, which expires today. Several associations and unions had given their indication to protest by the end of this month if the president fails to declare a state of emergency against the continuous destruction of rivers and forest reserves by illegal miners. General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, Thomas Musa, said organised labour is yet to receive an official response from government.
As of now, we have not heard anything from government. So all the issues stand safe. And it must be put on record that currently we are between life and death. And so tomorrow, organized labor will do the needful.
So that means your planned protest, as indicated, is definitely going on, as you have just said, right?
All the cards are on the table, and we will decide which one to fire tomorrow, and we will do the same tomorrow.
What if you hear from government before the close of day today? Does it mean it's just going, they'll strike?
Oh, it's fine. Once the demands are clear. Number one, state of emergency. Number two, revoke the LI, mandating people to go to the forest reserve to mine and all that. Number three, as for the creation of the special court, we know that it will take some time, but the processes must be set in motion. Then the other one, the police and the military should be equipped, be given the free hand to operate, and finally place a total ban on mining, whether illegal or illegal. Place total ban on it. Let our rivers and our water bodies rest, and let us streamline all the activities of mining in Ghana. Then we take it out from there. These are the demands, and we stand by them as of today.
In clear terms, what exactly are your proposals? What are you saying that you do tomorrow? Because you're saying that you do the needful. What exactly does that mean?
All the options are on the table.
Including?
We have the issue of strike, we have the issue of demonstration, and all the other related constitutional rights provided for us. And we will decide which one to deploy tomorrow, my sister.
All right, so what are the consequences for the country if government fails to act on that illegal mining issue? Because you are saying you have two options for tomorrow.
Oh, already we are facing an existential threat. And that is why we are asking His Excellency the President that under Article 31, that when the lives of the people are threatened, the Constitution allows the President to declare a state of emergency. And aside that one,
well, with the deadline on government expiring in a few hours, key actors of the two major political parties have been flip-flopping on their commitment to fight illegal mining. First, take a listen to NPP MP for Effigiasia Sokor in the Ashanti region and Chairman of Parliament's Health Committee, Dr. Nana Ayuefrie, make controversial comments on their commitment to deal with galamsey.
Small scale mining, community mining, I find galamsey, and you're different from Togo for the working out before the last month, and this is what or that.
Is small-scale mining different from the foreigners NDC brought to Ofin? The operation we started this week in the Middle Belt will ensure that we bring the people. They know we are winning seats in the mining areas, so they have decided to bring in foreigners.
Who said we are winning the seats in the mining areas, so they decided to go and import foreigners. No one buy no man can shop to say we call in real. I'm going to go do. What's it called? So I'm going to. I'm ready for one the whole year. It's so I a problem that. And you are my that started. And you will be now or person and the over here nanka you speak. Nanka you call nanka you stop it and I'm saying for nanka you losing your seat. Yes, stop you on that. Yes, stop you on China. Because there is a difference between mining in the forest as a small scale or community mining, and there's a difference between mining in the river bodies.
Have we had any problem with the water this year? It's just this month. Someone wants us to stop galamsey and lose our seats, but we won't stop it because there is a difference between mining in the river bodies and in the forest.
There's a money I'm going to do a one who I listen for, and what I'm going to say, I'm going to be. And it's a Amokodun Kayano Kalapse. Amokase, in Sufodiano, Amashada can say, Kalapse.
Well, we can now listen to the NDC running mate Jane Opoku-Agyeman promising the people of Amenfi Central that a future NDC government will offer them training and guidance on ways to undertake galamsey activities without causing distraction to water bodies.
If
you have a government who collapse jobs without creating any, what do you expect the young people to do? We have good news for you. Just like how galamsey is done in other countries without causing distraction to their water bodies, we will train you to partake in galamsey activities in that same way.
Well, that meeting is tomorrow at Forstina. It is a crucial meeting. Organized Labour will take a decision whether to proceed with their series of protests and strike. Ahead of that, I want to bring in Dr. Ken Ashigbe. He's a convener of the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining. Also joining us is Professor Mahmoud Akurugu, who is a national president of IPAC. You know, they've backed that organized Labour position. Dr. Ashigbe, ahead of this meeting tomorrow, and before I even get your comment on what we can expect tomorrow, give me your quick reaction to the two clips you had there. One from the MPP MP and the other from the running mate to John Dramani Mahama.
This is the reason why the Media Coalition had called on the presidential candidate of the two parties. We need their commitment to what the current Minister for Land and Natural Resources called draconian measures. We need draconian measures to stop the ecocide and the genocide that we are being subjected to as Ghanaians. And those ones would not be helped with, the points that are being made by the running mate of His Excellency John Mahama. But the worst part of it is, the MPP. Did I hear you say he's the chairman of the health committee?
Yes. Yes.
He's not concerned about, the renal diseases that are on the rise. He's not concerned about the deformed baby. He's not concerned about the heavy metals that Ghana Water is not able to treat. And what he looks at is the next election. Well, we have news for him. We also are not going to agree for the continued poisoning of Ghanaians. Neither are we going to agree for this genocide to continue happening. That is what we are telling all the politicians, that the time has come now for us. We are in a desperate situation. As a country, we are desperate because we are being poisoned, we are dying. Our water bodies are being lost. So we are not going to countenance that from anybody else. And it's the reason why we are happy that, together with Labour, we have formed the Ghana Coalition against Galamsey. And what the Constitution mandates us to be able to do, we are going to do. We are going to take a cue from what His Excellency the President said on the 7th of January 2017. And we will be citizens but not spectators. And so definitely we'll be waiting for organized labor after their meeting. But as the media as well, on Friday, the GJA also had an EGM where EGM gave the governing council the mandate to take decisions that would ensure that as journalists, as the coalition, we are able to ensure that the power that the Constitution gives us as the sovereign of the land, we bring that power to bear and ensure that we get some solutions to the challenges that confront us.
And Prof. Mahmood, UTAC, will you be represented tomorrow at this organized labor meeting?
No, the media.
Sorry, I'm actually bringing in Prof. Mahmood.
Yes, okay.
Hello, Prof.
Hello.
Yes, will you be represented tomorrow at this organized labor meeting?
Yeah, good evening to you and good evening to Engineer Dr. Asube. Yes, tomorrow will be represented.
What's the position of UTAC going into tomorrow's meeting?
Our position is simple. Our demands should be met. That's our position.
Obviously, we know as we speak tonight, those demands have not been met. And organized labor in their statement said two options on the table if that happens, which is if your demands are not met, protests and strikes. Between the two, where do you stand when that question is posed to organized labor tomorrow to take a decision?
Well, I don't want to preempt what organized labor is going to do, but I think it is not an either-or kind of thing. We can have both going on at the same time.
But certainly ahead of tomorrow, UTAC must have a position on what action you prefer the group should take.
I think if you read our release that came out even before organized labor, we were very clear as to what we would do when our demands were not met. And we said we were going to embark on an industrial action. So until this evening, I think we still stand by that.
Industrial action has to withdraw your services across the country.
Correct, among other activities.
So tomorrow at the table, that's what you're putting on the table for your other colleagues in organized labor to consider?
I think that is already on the table of organized labor.
But that's what you'll be pushing for?
Most definitely.
And how quickly would you expect this to kick in if by tomorrow you still haven't heard from government that they've declared a state of emergency on the water bodies?
I think organized labor is going to be very decisive in taking a decision because we demand a decisive action. And so therefore, we ourselves who are making those demands must also be decisive in our decisions. And so organized labor, I want to believe that we'll be decisive in our decisions and as quickly as possible move to action. And a number of things. The last meeting we had with the committee, we made some further demands, including the fact that the political parties, especially the two main political parties, you hear from the tapes that you played earlier on, we want them to sign a pact committing to fighting these menace ruthlessly. And I believe that is something that should be almost immediate. for them to do. And if any of the parties refuse to do that, then we'll know what happens.
And Dr. Ashigbe, so this is an organized labor meeting, but I believe as far as you are concerned, you joined organized labor when they put out this timeline that ends tonight. You also want to take a further step after tomorrow. What would that be?
So organized labor are partners to the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey, and we're happy that when we called the press conference, they joined us and they announced that. And we're grateful to UTAG and GMA that, started all of this. And so, as the Prophet said, we would be mobilizing beyond just labor. We'll be bringing the various 10 blocks that are involved in the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey, including the media, to bring, some pressure to bear so that as citizens and not spectators, as the sovereign of this country, we get government to take decisions that would ensure that our very lives would be preserved. So we would, and again, the point that Prof mentioned, the second point about getting the two political parties to sign a pact, is an important one. And the media coalition had already written to the two presidential candidates. We are hoping that we would hear from them. If we don't, together with organized labor at the Ghana coalition level, we will take decisions that they do. We are going to, this fight we are in is a national fight. It has nothing to do with parties. We'll make sure that no political parties take advantage of this this particular fight that is about our very survival. So we would ensure that both of them will sign on to again, I'll use the words of the Minister for Land and Natural Resources, those draconian measures that has been outlined by Prof, to ensure that we then get a solution and stop the poisoning and stop the genocide that is being perpetuated against Ghanaians.
Dr. Ashigbe, thank you very much. Prof, I'm grateful that you joined us, and tomorrow we'll bring you the very latest on this after organized labor's meeting.
Indeed. Now, away from illegal mining, let's head to the court, because the Attorney General's Department has asked for more time to study an application to abridge the time in the hearing of an application for bail for the Stop Galamsey Now protesters remanded in police and prison custody. The Accra High Court had given the 8th of October as the date to hear the application for bail, but lawyers for the protesters filed an application to expedite the hearing. Member of our Legal Affairs Desk, Kweku Asante, joins us on the line now with details of this latest development. Kweku, did the Attorney General oppose the application to abridge the time?
Well, yes. In fact, when this bail application was filed, the return date was the 7th of October. And 7th of October is just 24 hours to the specific bail terms having been met, the remand terms having been met for the protesters to return to court. And so lawyers, filed for an abridgment of time, and that abridgment of time was expected to be heard today for the court to make a ruling on that. And if that was accepted, it would have meant that the specific bail application would have been moved immediately in court. But the Attorney General's officers who were in court today did oppose that and said that they had been short-stepped, and in fact, the notices had been just brought to their attention. They needed some time to study it. The lawyers on the other side wanted the Attorney General to still go ahead and actually make a defense as whether or not he was opposed to the application for the abridgment of time. But the Attorney General asked for some time. The court did grant that, and the court did grant the request from the Attorney General's Department that they get some more time to study the documents and come back. And so the new date for the abridgment of time to be decided will be the next 48 hours, and that is the time the court has given. And so on Wednesday, it is expected that the parties will be back in court to argue out the case for an abridgment of time. We will then know whether or not the Attorney General is opposed to the application to abridge the time, or he will insist that the court takes that motion for the bill to be heard on the specific of the 7th. We've already been speaking to lawyers or the protesters who believe that this is all part of a grand scheme by the Attorney General to unduly punish the protesters who are already on remand and get them to spend a longer period behind bars.
The AG's office argued very strenuously that they needed time to study the motion. It was a very, very standard motion, one that they would have faced hundreds of times, right? And one to which the response will be very, very trite. Responding to a motion for abridgment of time is not something that generally requires any creativity in its opposition. Yet they opposed it and demanded that they be given time to review the application. What was the basis for their opposition? They said that they had been short-served. So my lady gave them 48 hours. As far as we are concerned, this is just another calculated attempt by the Attorney General's office to punish the protesters.
Well, Kweku, have they managed to account for every single protester arrested?
Not yet. In fact, the lawyer you have there is Prince Ganaku, is part of the lawyers for protest defense who have been defending these protesters in court. They say that as of now, they are unable to account for all the protesters arrested. And in fact, they do not even know how many persons the police arrested. They are concerned, they are worried that there's a possibility that a few persons might have been arrested and put behind bars, and they might go under the radar, and that would mean they will spend a lot of time behind bars. In fact, one of the issues that have been raised with the congested police stations and prison cells is that there are persons whose cases have gone to court several times and the charges have just been bundled up. And so Prince Ganaku tells me that as of now, they have a fair idea that the police may have arrested about 50 to 55 persons. And in fact, the persons who have been remanded officially so far by the court is 62. He is concerned, however, that having the police even come out to admit that 2 persons have been kept beyond 48 hours, there's a possibility that certain persons have been arrested and the police have not officially informed the lawyers about it. And that is why they are demanding that the police officially furnish them with every single person they arrested between within the 3-day protest that was held last 2 weeks here in Accra, so that they can possibly get to the bottom of it, provide legal defense where they must. But they have suspicions that there is a possibility that the police might have arrested a few persons who have not been accounted for, Forstina.
Thank you, Kweku.
Well, the police, they have clarified in their statement last week that they've arrested a total of 54 persons were arrested as part of the protest to drum home the issues around illegal mining and get some action around that. Still ahead here on Newsnight, in our Streets of Despair series, we'll tell you the story of 2 head porters, popularly known as Kayaye, battling the harsh street life of Accra to become nurses after escaping the poverty in their hometown, Tumu, in the Upper West region.
Suffering that we are getting there. I want to come here and look for money and go back.
4 cities from here to CMB is not good because 4 cities cannot buy food.
You want to stay with us for that, and George Yaffe is here with business. Hello, George.
Hi, Evans. And coming up in business, total amount of mobile money accounts held at commercial banks hit 141 billion Ghana cedis. In Bank of Ghana, Governor Dr. Ernest Addison insists increasing the capital reserve requirements are achieving results, as some banks still raising some concerns about the impact on their operations. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, Synthesis Tanks, and Pepsodent Herbal and Charcoal.
The other day, I visited Kweku at his spunky new office to congratulate him on opening his business. And man, was I impressed. The business is just moving quick. The sales, customers, everything is just working seamlessly. The secret? He said,
it's MTN Business Broadband. In this fast-paced environment, we need fast and reliable internet to support all business types. No laggy online meetings, great download and upload speeds, impeccable business management systems, all inclusive. I mean, you can have it all.
Sharp! I signed on immediately.
To enable your business stay ahead and stay connected, make sure you're signed on to the best internet made just for businesses. MTN Business Broadband. Sign up today on broadband.mtn.com.gh and manage your account on my MTN app. Call 0244 308 111 for more information. We are good together everywhere you go.
Hooray! Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited's back to school promotion is here with us once again. From August to September this year, Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited is giving a generous 10 to 20% discount on all school items like textbooks, pens, pencils, erasers, exercise books, and much more across all our branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Takrade, Winneba, and Cape Coast. Parents, teachers, and students, please hurry while stocks last. For more information, call us on 0506 487 037-557 or 0302-764-209 or via email at info@kingdomgh.com. You can also visit our website www.kingdomstoreonline.com. Kingdom Books, where quality and affordability are both assured. Terms and conditions apply.
Supposed to happen, and we find the reason.
Choboy! We have a new leader in town. Obiarentie. Amafo. Madam was Sibebre. When him say my baby, maybe more charcoal for whiter teeth. More charcoal. Not only that, maybe lemon. More lemon. Zinc for fresher breath. More zinc. And fluoride for stronger teeth.
Introducing the new President Charcoal packed with more power with a combination of charcoal and lemon for naturally whiter teeth. Grab yours now. This advert is FDA approved.
The luckiest.
Star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere. For everyone, yeah. The luckiest.
Star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere. For everyone, yeah.
Doctors.
Nurses.
Barbers.
Drivers.
Bouncers.
Friends.
Teachers.
Bankers.
You could be the luckiest. You could be the luckiest.
East, west, north, south.
You could be the luckiest. You could be the luckiest.
Accra to Haga.
Let's go.
The luckiest.
Star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere. For everyone, yeah. The luckiest.
Star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere. For everyone, yeah.
Doctors.
Nurses.
Barbers.
Drivers.
Bouncers.
Friends.
Teachers.
Bankers.
Star 712 hash.
You could be the luckiest.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, the total amount of mobile money accounts of subscribers kept at commercial banks have hit some significant levels. Latest data from the Bank of Ghana puts the amount at 141 billion Ghana cedis ending August this year. There is more in this report.
The act that regulates operations of mobile money in the country has been structured in the way that ensures the funds that are being mobilized are kept with the commercial banks. For instance, if you have about 10,000 Ghana cedis in your mobile money wallet, that money is held with a commercial bank. It is all those funds put together that has been classified as the balance on float. The Bank of Ghana data showed that it has been going up consistently over the past month. It also emerged from the report that when it comes to the value of transactions over the past 8 months, it shot up by some significant margin to 1.8 trillion Ghana cedis compared to a little over 1 trillion in the same period last year. The total number of registered mobile money accounts as at the end of August stood at 70.5 million, while registered agents expect at 863,000.
And that is a business text report. Meanwhile, banking consultant Dr. Richmond Etuahene is downplaying claims of double counting, which has resulted in the significant increase in the value of mobile money transactions that has hit almost 2 trillion Ghana cedis at the end of August this year.
All the telcos, especially the giant, the bigger one, he has about, I think, 9 partner banks. Where transactions are worked through so that they can get it. So I wouldn't call it double counting. It shows the way people have actually adapted to this technology. It shows how versatile people are now getting used to. Because everybody gets up and I'm going to do mobile banking. I'm going to do transaction. You see, once upon a time, you have to walk a distance to a bank. And when you go there, there'll be a queue. Even this morning, I use it. I used to pay for something that I bought. So it takes me out from the hustle and the bustle. You sit at the comfort of your home. If the internet is okay, then you work with it.
Dr. Richmond Etuahene is a banking consultant. Now, Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Ernest Addison has maintained that the increase in the capital reserve requirement for commercial banks is actually achieving the desired results. The Bank of Ghana earlier this year asked the banks to increase the fraction of deposits held on foreign and local accounts that they hold with the regulator. However, this hasn't gone down well with some commercial banks that has resulted in some passing on the cost of holding these accounts to the customers. But the Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Ernest Addison maintains that the current data shows that it is actually working in the area of even containing inflation.
Say it has been successful because the principal reason why that policy was introduced was to manage liquidity, to get the banks that are not lending to the general public to, in a sense, keep those unutilized liquidity in Bank of Ghana instruments, which are more or less sterilized from the economy. And we have seen that the sterilization buffers in the central bank has gone up, and it has acted as an anchor for prices. We have seen a significant drop in inflation also. So if you look at it that way, it's been very successful. Along with that, we are also seeing a pickup in private sector credit, even though the intention was mainly focused on the liquidity management aspects.
Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Ernest Addison. Now, fintech firm Haptel has denied receiving $25 million as cost for developing the virtual application for purchasing power by consumers. It follows allegations by some civil society groups that the power company had paid some significant amount to Haptel, which has been underestimated by Haptel itself. But the company denies this claim. Let's hear from its head of legal and corporate affairs, Colonius Otu.
What we have done is to assist ECG become a more efficient outfit in terms of revenue collection. And Haptel is committed to this contract and committed to seeing it through. We've not done anything wrong in the execution of this contract, and we are open to answer any questions on this. Statements such as Haptel receiving $25 million from ECG are erroneous and they are false. A budget was proposed for the project that ECG wanted to execute. Haptel was able to execute it with about $12 million, which is about 171 million Ghana cedis. And Haptel and other service providers utilized these funds for numerous things, including the upgrading of ECG's core database from Oracle 10G to Oracle 19C. A new balance management and accounting system was put in place. There was hybridization of metering infrastructure. There was overhaul of staff systems for commercial operations, overhaul of customer self-service systems, and overhaul of the revenue protection systems. It was not just for the Power App.
Colonius Otu is head of legal and corporate affairs at fintech firm Haptel. Now, Chief Executive of Gold Coast Developers Neil Oku is urging Ghanaians in the diaspora to contribute to the socio-economic growth of the country by investing in Ghana. He believes that opportunities especially abound in the real estate sector, hence the need for Ghanaians living overseas to consider in the sector. He spoke to Joy Business at the groundbreaking ceremony of Heritage 100 two-tower project, a contemporary home offering affordable, luxurious apartments to Ghanaians.
For me, I'm the biggest symbol of diaspora returnee success. I believe Ghana is where it's at. In the next 20 years, there will be no competition with the West and whatnot. Everybody will want to be here. So if you have the opportunity, come home. We believe in Ghana. No matter what comes, what may, this is our country and this is where we are. So we have to lift our country with pride. That's why we're building the tallest building in cantonments in Labone. That's why we're infusing African culture in everything that we do. And when people see it, when they come here, they will realize that we do it better than anybody else. And that's not for us personally as a company, it's us as a nation, and we believe in it.
Neil Oku is Chief Executive of Golden Coast Developers. And that's all for business on Newsnight.
Thank you very much, George. We can do sports now, and Mr. Crampton is joining us with the very latest.
Hi, Evans. Let's go straight into the stories. And Ghana Football Association President Keto Kriko, he has denied involvement in Black Star squad selection. Now, the subject of external influence in Black Star squad selection has been a long-standing debate over the past few years. Addressing questions posed by the Parliamentary Select Committee on Sports earlier today, Okreku stated that player selection for the national team is solely handled by the technical team.
They made public statements, not once, not twice, on the environment this FA has created to enable them to work. Coach Ado has said on platforms that one of the key reasons why he accepted to come back is the fact that he's allowed to do the work the way he wants to work. So the answer is very simple. Coaches representing Ghana are solely selected by the technical team of our national team. We're talking about players representing Ghana, whether it's the Black Queens or it's the Black Stars.
That was Ghana Football Association President Ket Okreku speaking there. That's all for sports. Back to you, Evans.
Thank you very much, Sakranti.
Let's do some other stories now. And Jahara and Umayatu left behind their families and rural life in Tumu in the Upper West region in search of a better life here in Accra. Now settled in Agbogbloshie Yam Market, they are faced with the harsh realities of street life, forcing them to become head porters, working tirelessly to save for their dream of becoming nurses. Mamiesi Yamiche Thompson has the rest of the story in our maiden edition of Street of Despairs.
Life on the streets of Agbogbloshie Yam Market is tough. It may sound cliché, but it truly takes the strongest to survive. Yet for many young girls fleeing poverty in the north, this market is where dreams of a better life are born.
Today I get 13 CDs for.
Ishahaku Jahara Jatu, only 20 years old, has been at the yam market for 9 months. She left home without telling her parents. One day, she packed a few clothes, borrowed money from a friend, and left without looking back. It wasn't until she arrived in the capital that she mustered the courage to inform her family.
When I reached here, that I called her, I said I'm going to Accra. She said, why? I said, you see, look at the suffering that we are getting there. I want to come here and look for money and go back. I said I will not refuse to go to school, so I will go.
And what did she say?
She didn't say anything. She just prayed for me.
Life on the streets is brutal. Jahara says the hardest part is finding food, water, and a safe place to sleep.
When we wake up in the morning, we go and buy pure water and come and wash our face. After that, we went to work. After work, we will come and sleep. We don't know anyone here. Like, if we want to go and buy food, we usually go and buy gari and come and soak it and eat.
So if you compare your life in Tumu to your life here in Accra, what do you think?
My life in Tumu is better than when I'm here.
That's when she met Umiatu, the 24-year-old had left Tumu under similar circumstances. Having been in Accra longer than Jahara, Umiatu has helped her navigate the harsh realities of city life.
I met her, she's also sleeping outside. And I said, oh, the same as me, I'm also sleeping outside. Then we began to make friends and come close friends.
Umiatu dreams of becoming a nurse, but saving enough money for her training means carrying heavy loads daily. The demands of street life often makes it difficult to hold on to hope.
I'm thinking of going back home.
But when you go back home, what will you do?
For the little I have, I will set up a business.
On some days, the market isn't kind. Umiatu even had to turn down a customer because the pay was too little for the effort.
We do charge 15 cedis, 20 cedis from here to CMB. I just rejected one because the price is no good.
How much was she?
She was offering to give me 4 cedis. 4 cedis from here to CMB. It's no good because 4 cedis cannot buy medicine. Neither can 4 cedis buy food.
Their living conditions are nothing to write home about. At night, Jahara and Umiatu sleep out in the open in front of a shed that houses men. Their only source of security is one another. They spread their carrying clothes as makeshift beds, taking turns, sometimes, to stay on watch while the other sleeps.
Let me hide my own. If not, you will steal it.
Me, the boys, you will sleep and then they will come and steal out.
Me, I will sleep on top of my money. Hide the phone too. Hide it.
Their boss, Abna Pokia, tells me that this is their only option until they can find a better foothold in Accra.
Subai omuyi ne dine che say
They are very humble and hardworking. Sometimes they even do beyond the duties that I give them. I have advised them to take the work seriously and get enough money to set up on their own. It is a routine of survival. Every day is a fight. Yet every step they take brings them closer to the dream that keeps them going. The hope that one day they'll trade this tough life to become nurses. For Joy News, Mami Nyamiche Thompson.
Mamiesi Yamiche Thompson filed that report for our maiden edition of Streets of Despair. Now, let's do some other stories. This time, we take you to the Works and Housing Ministry. Today, they held a press conference, and the Ministry of Works and Housing says it will need a total funding of 500 million cedis to resettle communities along the Volta River, which were destroyed after the spillage of the Volta Dam at Akosombo in the eastern region. Already, Parliament has commenced an inquiry into circumstances accounting for the uncontrolled spillage by the Volta River Authority, which resulted in the national disaster that left many families, especially in the Volta region, still reeling under the impact of the flooding. Providing updates on the state of government's effort to address the plight of affected communities, Works and Housing Minister Kojopo Nkrumah says a commitment of 200 million cedis has been made by his outfit to carry out the resettlement plan for over 2,000 homes.
That in April 2024, we broke ground to start work on the resettlement. I know sometimes people like to create a narrative that government is not doing anything about it. It's not true. In April 2024, I myself, together with my leaders, went on the ground to break ground for construction to start. And many of you, our colleagues in the media, covered it. Alongside that, or parallel to that, we also had to do a validation of who really needed new housing. A lot of people came forward claiming that their buildings had been destroyed and therefore they needed new buildings. So we had to send the whole team, BNI, LUSPA, NADMO, to go there and do validation. So the validation exercise is done by you come and stand by your collapsed building or where it was. The local assembly member, unit committee members can all validate that it's true. This is where your house was. BNI and everybody, we are there. We're able to validate your Ghana card and then we're able to take. When we finished this exercise, after about 2.5 to 3 months, it took about 2.5 to 3 months to finish, only 40% of those who were claiming that their buildings had been destroyed and needed replacement were true. So we are in the process of building 2,225 new homes to resettle our colleagues who were affected by the floods. Now already 115 units are under construction and they've gone past the 60% mark. Those are the units that I went to break ground for in April 2024. 115 of those units. We have also approved phase 2 of 1,010 units, and we've received the commencement certificate for phase 2. On the 5th of September 2024, which is 8 days after I appeared before the Assurances Committee of Parliament, remember we had mentioned that we'll be there in 14 days. Within 8 days, we were there, as myself and the regional minister were there. We met with the consultants and the contractors and the entire technical team. We were then on ground to inspect the physical building units, and where we even thought that some more attention should be paid to the quality of work, I have written under my hand to the consultants. So there are costs associated with the core homes themselves, and then there are ancillary costs that will come with the other things that are required for resettlement.
Well, still on housing, the sector minister Kojopo Nkrumah has announced that work will resume on the stalled Saglemi housing project in November this year. Well, that's it for Newsnight. My name is Forstina. Sarfo. For more news, please log on to myjoyonline.com. I've been doing this with.
And my name is Mensah.